Hi guys, welcome to the Daughter Arise channel. My name is Yvonne, and on this channel I share with you news and things around childhood sexual abuse. I share on this channel things to do with my experience of going through this childhood trauma, and from time to time I interview other survivors and their supporters in hopes of raising awareness of this childhood trauma. So if this is the type of content you're looking for, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you can be notified of any new uploads. And if you do like the content, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. So today guys, in this video I just want to share this story that I came across in the Daily Mail. On your screen here you will see Earl Spencer. For those of you who are not familiar with him, this is the late Princess Diana of Wales's brother. Over here in the UK he's quite a well-known figure. Obviously everybody knows who Princess Diana was, you know, she was an amazing woman. But in today's story he shares that he was sexually abused at boarding school by the matron. So I just want to share with you a little bit of this story and my thoughts on it. So in an extract from his powerful memoir published exclusively in the Mail on Sunday, Earl Spencer describes in devastating detail the sexual assaults and horrific beatings he suffered at Maidwell Hall and the lifelong damage it caused. The 59-year-old reveals how a predatory assistant matron, whom he describes as a vicarious paedophile, preyed on him and other young boys, grooming and then abusing them in their dormitory beds at night. In the book, he details the terrified and sadistic head teacher of the exclusive prep school, inflicting brutal beatings, seemingly gaining sexual pleasure from the violence. The torment that Earl Spencer endured during his 5 years at Maidwell Hall led him to deliberately make himself sick. So, in a shocking precursor to Diana's later struggles with bulimia. Now, isn't that interesting that both him and his sister had problems with bulimia or eating to make themselves sick? Both for very different circumstances, but yeah, it's an interesting connection. And he believes the emotional damage wrought by his time at the school in Northamptonshire had an effect on his two marriages. He attended Maidwell between the ages of 8 and 13, and he said that his hopes in sharing his account will shine light on things that happen too often in private schools. He said many of us were left with demons sewn into the seams of our souls. This particular woman who joined the staff in 1972 made them refer to her as Miss, but he said in the way that she wanted them to do it was deeply odd. And I'm just going to give a bit of discretionary warning here, because obviously I'm now going to share a little bit of his experience. So if you find this type of thing triggering, it might be best to come back and watch this video later or skip past this part. Earl Spencer describes how she first kissed him on the lips, and then she promoted him to second rank of her reverse harem, and she intimately touched him. While we kissed one night, she reached under my bedclothes, trailing her fingers in a teasing looping circle down my stomach until alighting on little that an 11-year-old boy could muster. The first time she touched me there, she placed my hands on her breasts, and I could feel her pounding heart beneath. Earl Spencer reveals how the woman chose one boy each term to have sex with and cynically encouraged boys to compete for her affections. He wrote, "There seemed to be an unofficial hierarchy among her prey. She'd choose one boy each term to share her bed and would use him for intercourse." He also says her control over mesmerised boys was total, for we were starved of feminine warmth and desperate for attention and love. Amid the emotional turmoil caused by the abuse, Earl Spencer self-harmed when the matron suggested she might leave the school for the Navy. "I was fraught at the prospect of losing her. I started cutting at my side of my arm with a penknife." Describing the misplaced elation he and the other boys felt when it emerged that she would be staying until the end of the year, he said, "We jumped up and down, waving our arms in childish euphoria, unaware that we in fact were the victims of a paedophile." There's much more to this story here, and I will leave a link to it in the description box. But what is really interesting is, no matter whether you are rich or poor, or no matter your class or background, how sexual abuse can have an effect on you as a child. Here we read in Earl Spencer's short account that I've just shared here, how it caused him to self-harm. It caused him to have these kind of episodes of self-induced, sickness where he'd make himself sick. It's interesting that he mentions about the fact that this woman had so much power and control. This is something that paedophiles thrive off more than anything else. It is about more than the sexual contact. It is about the power and control they have over the child, where they have this child totally at a whim. I mean, this boarding school Maidwell sounds absolutely horrendous, and I'm so sorry that he had to go through that. And we've seen a similar story many years ago with the Britannia school, where there was a teacher there that was abusing boys, and also with the school in Battersea where they had the paedophile teacher as well. So it just goes to show, paedophile isn't done just by, what people perceive as dirty, low-class people or people with no sense. It is also done by those in the upper and richer circles. I think that in him sharing this, I think a lot more young boys and even girls who are at boarding school will get to understand that even though decades have gone by since it's happened to him, and if it's happening to them, they'll be able to recognize it. Because that's the thing, when you're going through child sexual abuse, you don't know at the time that it is what you're going through. You don't know at the time that this person who you may love or look up to, who's doing these things, is a paedophile, but you do have a sense that something is not right. And that may come out in your behaviour, like how Earl Spencer says here, or it comes out in other ways. But nevertheless, I think he's very brave to share this. And, I hope that in reading his book, many people will be able to kind of put a name to the things that they've gone through. Obviously going through physical abuse as well on top of that. And, him mentioning about the fact that later on he attributes some of the reasons why his first 2 marriages broke down to the abuse he suffered in childhood is very believable. It's something I've talked about on this channel many videos ago, about how I started to notice in my relationship, especially in my marriage in the early years, how I had problems with trust and intimacy and different things like that because of my childhood abuse. It's very believable that he would be able to connect those experiences. My only hope for him is that he's able to get the professional help. If he hasn't already, get the professional help he needs through therapy, if he hasn't been able to heal from those experiences. But something tells me he probably has done a bit of therapy work, because in order to write a book about something so personal, especially as a male survivor, it's not something he could have just picked up himself and done. And I'm hoping that other people can relate to him, especially male survivors of any background, and especially in his circle. I think within their kind of circle, the upper class circles, because a lot of the families are based upon, identity and looking good and keeping up with the Joneses, and have a kind of prestige about their name. I can believe a lot of this would go under the carpet. I can believe a lot of children who are in these type of families be told, you can't talk about this. What about our reputation? What about our kind of standing in our society and things like that? But I'm hoping that it will encourage other boys who may be coming up out of that, or maybe men who were in the same circle as him, to come out and get the help they need. Because image is a very, very powerful thing. It's very easy to kind of dismiss somebody's experience, maybe if it's a male who is from a black background or a white background, and then you've got people in other circles who are from kind of like an opposite, to say, well, that's what's happened in their circle. But when you see somebody in your own circle, like Earl Spencer, upper class, boarding school, come from a rich heritage, rich background, that's gone through, he's come out and said it, it does hit different to those who are in those circles. Just like in Dele Alli's story, Dele Alli was ex-Arsenal footballer who came out and said he was sexually abused as a child. Same way, his image would influence other black boys who have gone through similar to speak up as well. So that's all I want to share in this video, guys. I just wanted to share this story because I thought it was very interesting, especially from the background and the connections that he has, with his sister being the Princess of Wales and his connections to those type of circles to speak out about this. I thought this story was worth covering. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, and I will see you on another video. Take care.